exploring our home away from home. The dogs are in the back. Let's go!
This month we are going to West Virginia. We had such high hopes for our first camping trip of the season. We had worked so hard getting the camper ready. We were ready, the dogs were ready, everything had been going so right until it started going so wrong. The tires were dry rotted, which we knew, so we called Walmart. The lady said we had to order online because they only had 2 in stock. She gave me the stock numbers and told me to have them delivered to the store. No problem, I thought. I've ordered online before, but I never saw a spot to check to have them sent to the store. So 4 days later, I had 4 huge tires on my porch. This was just a little glitch. We loaded up our tires and took them to Walmart bright and early on Saturday. Turns out the lady sold us passenger tires. We needed truck tires. Walmart doesn't sell truck tires in that size. Luckily, we were able to return the tires we bought online and take the camper somewhere else. It was 1 week before the maiden voyage, and we figured we should probably get it filled with gas and check things out. Francis fires it up, and we pull it forward, and it is a whole lot louder than it usually is. Annie and I come running out on the porch to see what is wrong. Boy, was he hot. Someone had cut off the catalytic converter. Now, before we can fix it, we have to wait for the insurance adjuster to come, and time is ticking. Crisis averted, and the insurance adjuster has come and gone. Hubby has stayed up late welding and has fixed the camper again. We are at the gas station, and if you are feeling like we are, your heart drops as these numbers go up. I have been saving my fuel perks for this moment and happy to fill up the camper the rest of the way for $107 for 30 gallons. 85 cents off, and it was worth it. We continue to get ready for the big day, but everyone knows something is up. We take turns with the dogs going camping, and this is not Cletus's turn. That's his don't leave me face. But today is Sprout's turn, and he is very excited to be riding up front. The camper is packed, everything is ready. What else could go wrong, right? If you only knew. The weather up here was beautiful. Blue skies as far as the eye could see. But as we started heading south, it started getting grayer and grayer. We had already talked to my sister, who was already there, and she said it had rained all day. Great. That means mud. Oh, look, West Virginia! It takes quite a while to get up to the top of the mountain, about 25 minutes. You pass an old graveyard on your right that has victims from the Spanish flu. The area was hard hit. Look hard, there's a salamander. So we get to the top. Remember the rain that has been falling all day? And remember the mud I was worried about? Well, it's good and slippery now. So hubby decides to back in on a nice little incline. And of course we slip. Right into the fire. Yikes, the fire! We grab water and start pouring it on the fire, pulling logs out, spreading the coals, pouring more water. I'm freaking out because now my new camper is going to burn. It was awful. We finally get the fire out. The kids didn't seem concerned once the fire was out and continued to find critters. Here's Eris's snake. Now that the fire was out, we could concentrate on getting the camper out. The camper looked a little tippy. We were shoving things under the tires and everything, but they just kept digging in. Hubby wasn't ready to stop, but I was afraid it would tip on him, so we called it quits and decided to call a tow truck. Of course, no one wanted to come out on a rainy Friday night, so we just slept on a slant that night. Bright and early that next morning, I started to look for someone to tow the camper. Never knew it'd be so hard to find someone to take my money. Kids were still not bothered. You like their matching hair? I finally found a place down the mountain that was willing to come. They were really close, a half hour, so I thought I was lucky. The boys are playing Star Wars. Thinking that since the place is just at the bottom of the mountain, the price shouldn't be that bad, I was happy as a clam. The rain was gone, the kids were playing. I was watching the road so I could flag down the truck, because the directions were something like this. Up Shaves Run Road, past the A-frame, not quite to Doc's cabin. What else could go wrong? Things were looking up for me. The giant truck arrives and hooks on the camper. He said it looked like an easy pull. I was so relieved. He thought he could just winch it out. Of course, everyone decides they want to use the road at the same time, but that's what happens with a one-lane road. You have to wait. He hooked up and all it took was 10 feet, and we were out. $364 later, but I was grateful. Yay! We backed into the driveway that wasn't as muddy. We took his card in case we had to call him Monday to get us out again. The kids liked the tow truck, but as soon as he was done, found more critters. So now I figured I could sit back and relax a while. The camper was out and no longer in danger of tipping or burning, which my husband said it never was. The kids decided to bring out the hammock. Oops, can't put it in the poison ivy. Laying in the hammock seemed to have a bit of a learning curve. Everyone kept getting dumped out. Aw, Eris. This is a rare photo of sister and brother together. While the kids were oblivious to anything going on, Scott was being neighborly, talking to the neighbors across the street about their plans for the weekend and what ours were. Here's a little history. The friends that owned the land we were staying on used to own the land on both sides of the road. They have owned the land since the 80s. The neighbors across the street purchased the land and built a cabin 5 or so years ago. Scott was letting them know that we had guns and were going to be doing some shooting later, essentially letting her know don't be alarmed when she heard shooting. She told him she didn't know how she felt about that with her kids and dog running around. Well, first of all, your dog shouldn't be running loose. I had 2 dogs that were always tied and their dog kept coming over. Secondly, we are staying on our 60 acres, so your kids should be fine on your land. They parted friends, but we didn't know what to do. We didn't want to cause any problems for our friends, the landowners. Not even an hour later, our friends, Andy and Nicole, pull up, the landowners. My brother-in-law, Carl, was supposed to let Andy know we were going to be there, but something in the message telling broke down, and we were a big surprise for Andy and Nicole, who were there to celebrate Nicole's birthday with a romantic weekend. Surprise! At first, I don't think they were very happy to see us, and I was terribly embarrassed. It turns out, though, that Andy had broken his leg really bad about 6 months ago, and this was really his big first outing. Luckily, Francis was there to help him with unloading things, like the generator and the four-wheeler. They had brought his mother's camper, which was hooked to Andy's truck, that he wasn't too confident backing up. He was happy Francis was there to do it for him. We ended up riding the four-wheeler, playing Uno, and taking walks. We all had a great time. The kids kept finding critters. Here's Eris with her red eft, and Nolan taking a break and watching Blippi. The day had ended on a good note, and we had a quiet time laughing and telling stories by the fire. We played some Uno by the lantern and listened to the neighbors dancing the Macarena. Bright and early the next morning, a good breakfast and a best friend. This is Jackson and his best friend Cricket. He's going to sell all of his toys for $1,000 so he can buy Cricket. He loved her. Cricket sat on laps and never a piece of dog food crossed her lips. She was on vacation too. And when relaxing in the camper to take a break from the rigors of camping and friendship, she rested on her best friend's pillow. Sprout thought the hammock looked fun. He almost tipped me out. But we got it figured out. The next camping trip is Gypsy's turn. We got this picture from the pet sitter, Gypsy waiting for us. She got to sit on the back porch and eat canine carryouts. This was Nolan's favorite part of camping, the rock pile. Katie had to walk the boys here several times a day. Luckily, it wasn't too far. We told Andy about the neighbors' concern about the shooting. He was not concerned and said he would explain it to them, but luckily they went on a long four-wheeler ride, so we decided to shoot then. Here's Annie. Here's Jackson with his gun. And here's Eris with a pistol and a smile. Scott and Andy spent some time shooting too, and everything was safely stowed before the neighbors were back. We wrapped up a great weekend. Katie and Scott got everything packed up first, and since they had found everything fine the first time, we never dreamed they would have any trouble finding their way out. We thought we had outrun our bad luck. We finished packing and helped Andy get his camper ready. By the time we started down the mountain, we figured Katie should be halfway home, but the phone rang. Katie was crying and said they were lost. There was a tree in the road, and Scott got the chainsaw caught in it. She had found her way back to the campsite, but couldn't get cell reception back to Scott. I told her directions to come down the mountain to come get Francis, to take him with her back to Scott to get him and the saw. We lost cell reception a few times, but I was able to send a text, and in about 20 minutes she was there. They went back to grab Scott, and in no time we were all on our way home. It was eventful, but unlike the Griswold trip to Wally World, no one died. Always remember, a bad day camping is still better than a good day working. This is Lisa from Hit the Road with Lisa. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell.